What specific outcomes would you hope to achieve through training in leadership and culture building?
Well, actually, if you're what I already mentioned before is that culture building is not a silo where someone is actually in there on its own. It's something that you need to do together with other people, and that's the only way of creating something which you know that your peers in the company are also agreeing on. So it's something that if you do some training to improve the culture of your company, then you'll need to do this probably in workshops, in other ways, or even have something like if you're in a department or something, what you could do is maybe have like someone who is actually facilitating some of the activities which are needed to actually establish part of the culture, which is sometimes it could be something like simple, that you have like a facilitator for certain things to learn about it on the job, which is I think it's a way of establishing something instead of just learning something which you can then maybe or maybe not establish. If you really want to establish something as difficult to change as culture, you not only have to live it, you may also need to really facilitate it. And this is going beyond than your question, maybe, than what you're learning and what you try to establish by the learning, but it is part of this switch that you want to create if you want to establish something new. Everybody's been in trainings that you are in a certain drive within the training. Training takes a couple of days, and you have the impression, well, this is really good and really good insights. And if you're then scoring the training, you give it a maybe 8 out of 8 or something, maximum score. But when you then come back into the working culture, then it sometimes just stops because, well, you learned all that, but it's not part of the reality in the actual organization. So establishing something and facilitating within the organization, which it's also something which is not easily done. But if you have like a facilitator which comes into a certain meeting for once per week or something for a certain part of the meeting or whatever, it could be that that is not really more expensive actually in the end. Because it's the things that you want to establish, and if you achieve that, it's much more valuable to the organization than everybody comes out of the training and is saying hooray, and then in the organization nothing has changed anywhere.
I mean, bottom line is, whether it's a word or a principle or a practice, if you can't use it or you don't use it, it's useless.
Absolutely.
Okay.
It's in the back of your head, and you may be applying this for some place where you can actually implement it, but it's better to actually already implement it, because then you are used to doing it. And if it's within your normal common way of doing things, it will become much easier, and you can even improve on that skill in the end. Like thinking about change and change culture, maybe it's a myth, but I heard this story about it was coming from the semiconductor industry, where actually Japanese company Nikon and ASML in the Netherlands, they were competing, and they had like both. They had a different technology that they actually were they were working on. And actually, Nikon was way before and ahead of ASML, and ASML was doing this other technology. And then at the time, the leadership just looked themselves in the eyes and said, "Well, is this actually the right way to go?" And they said, "No, this is not. We think that's we're doing the wrong thing." And from one day to the other, they said, "Okay, well, we want to change it, and we want to go into the same type of direction as Nikon is actually doing." And they did. And from one day to the other, they actually changed from one technology to the other technology. And they did this so fast that they came out ahead of Nikon, and established the world leadership in semiconductor wafer machinery that they have
Wow.
actually today. So
Amazing.
and they said, okay, well, actually everybody was talking about how to actually implement this new technology, and everybody was at the coffee machine discussing cross level between different disciplinaries to actually see, okay, well, how can we actually do this? And maybe it's a myth, but they actually established a being having a setback from the leader of the semiconductor at that time, Nikon, but it became actually an advantage in the end by doing OCHA in a way that you can actually have everybody on the same path and thinking about what is the right direction to actually establish this new type of technology.
Love it. So the next one is